Harley Davidson is facing one of the biggest backlashes in its history. Sales are plummeting, riders are furious, and the brand's reputation is on the line. After months of silence, Harley's CEO is finally responding. Is this a real attempt to fix the damage or just corporate spin? Can Harley recover, or is this the beginning of the end? Stick around, because what's happening next will change everything. What's happening? Harley Davidson CEO Jochen Zeitz finally broke his silence after months of controversy. The company faced massive consumer outrage over its corporate activism, branding decisions, and policies that many riders saw as a betrayal of Harley's traditional values. With sales declining and dealerships struggling, Zeitz knew he had to act. His official statement attempted to walk back some of the most controversial moves. Harley Davidson distanced itself from diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives, emphasized its commitment to traditional motorcycle culture, and promised to refocus on its core audience. The statement declared that Harley Davidson remained committed to listening to all members of its community. Moving forward, the company claimed it would focus on growing the sport of motorcycling and ensuring that it remained the most desirable motorcycle brand in the world. The message ended with a familiar phrase, "United we ride." But for many riders, this response wasn't enough. While Harley claimed it was listening, key issues remained unchanged. The company had already shifted its focus toward electric motorcycles, continued its corporate sustainability push, and adopted branding that felt more suited for investors than for loyal bikers. The response also raised questions about whether this was a genuine course correction or just a move to calm investor panic. With Harley's stock in decline, some saw this as nothing more than corporate damage control. Investors needed reassurance, but riders needed proof that Harley truly understood their concerns. But beyond PR statements, Harley's deeper problems were already unraveling. The backlash continues. Even after the CEO's response, the backlash didn't slow down. Across social media, frustrated riders continued calling for boycotts, vowing to never buy another Harley unless the company fully reversed its direction. The protests weren't just online. Across the country, Harley dealerships reported declining foot traffic. Showrooms that were once full of eager customers now sat nearly empty. Dealership owners, many of whom had been in the business for decades, struggled to move inventory. Some were even forced to offer massive discounts just to clear their stock. One of the biggest reasons for the continued backlash was a lack of trust. Many customers felt that Harley's statement wasn't a real commitment to change, but rather a calculated move to ease tensions. Riders pointed out that despite the claims of moving away from corporate activism, Harley was still heavily invested in electric motorcycles, sustainability policies, and branding efforts that appealed more to corporate elites than to actual bikers. Even some of the most dedicated Harley fans began exploring other brands. Many turned to Indian motorcycles, which successfully captured Harley's classic cruiser aesthetic while staying true to its heritage. Others shifted toward Japanese brands like Honda and Yamaha, which offered similar performance at more competitive prices. For longtime Harley riders, this wasn't just about corporate decisions, it was about a company losing touch with its own identity. While customers turned away, Harley's business was sinking fast. Harley's financial nightmare. As customer confidence dropped, so did Harley Davidson's financial stability. Investors once considered Harley an unshakable American icon, but now they were losing faith fast. The company's stock value took a sharp decline, and quarterly earnings reports painted a grim picture. Motorcycle sales plummeted, revenue fell short of expectations, and market share in the U.S. continued to shrink. This financial downturn led to factory layoffs, dealership closures, and widespread economic consequences. Small towns that relied on Harley's manufacturing plants were suddenly facing economic uncertainty. Local businesses that thrived on Harley's presence, gear shops, mechanics, and small diners catering to bikers, saw fewer customers walk through their doors. Rather than correcting course, Harley doubled down on its electric motorcycle strategy. Despite the failure of the Livewire, the company poured more resources into developing electric models, hoping to attract a younger, environmentally conscious audience. The problem? That audience wasn't interested. Meanwhile, Harley's competitors were thriving. Indian Motorcycle saw a resurgence, positioning itself as a brand that honored tradition while staying innovative. Triumph and Royal Enfield expanded their market share, offering stylish, affordable alternatives that appealed to former Harley riders. Harley Davidson, once the king of motorcycles, was now struggling to stay relevant, but it wasn't just bad business. Harley's identity crisis was turning riders away. The loss of Harley's identity. For decades, Harley Davidson wasn't just a motorcycle company. It was a cultural symbol. Owning a Harley wasn't just about riding a bike, it was about belonging to a rebellious, independent lifestyle. But over the years, that identity began to fade. Harley Davidson shifted from an outlaw brand to a corporate entity. Instead of catering to the riders who built its legacy, the company started chasing Wall Street approval. One of the biggest missteps was Harley's focus on environmental, social, and governance policies. While sustainability is important, many riders felt that Harley's push for electric motorcycles, DEI initiatives, and investor-friendly policies took priority over making great bikes. The cultural disconnect was impossible to ignore. Riders no longer saw Harley as a brand that represented them. Instead, it felt like just another corporation, one that cared more about shareholders than about the people who had supported it for generations. The final blow for many bikers came when Harley spun off its electric division into a separate company, signaling that the brand was more invested in following electric vehicle trends than in preserving its own heritage. For longtime Harley fans, this wasn't just about business decisions or political leanings, it was about losing something deeply personal. The Harley they knew and loved was disappearing. While Harley fought to keep its identity, its competitors seized the opportunity. The Indian motorcycle takeover. Harley Davidson may have once been the undisputed king of American motorcycles, but Indian Motorcycles has emerged as a formidable competitor. While Harley has faced backlash for its corporate decisions and shifting identity, Indian has managed to blend heritage and innovation in a way that resonates with traditional riders. Indian's revival under Polaris Industries in 2011 brought fresh energy to the brand. Unlike Harley, which has experimented with electric motorcycles and branding shifts, Indian stuck to what worked, refining its classic designs while integrating modern performance and reliability. The result? A growing number of Harley owners have switched brands, drawn to Indian's Thunderstroke and Power Plus engines, competitive pricing, and solid build quality. The Indian Challenger, Scout, and Chief models have gained particular traction, offering a balance of power, comfort, and design that many feel Harley has lost. While Harley Davidson struggled with customer alienation, Indian focused on making motorcycles that riders actually wanted. If Harley wants to reclaim its former dominance, it must take a page from Indian's playbook. Rebuild trust, improve reliability, and listen to what riders truly want. But Indian wasn't the only company capitalizing on Harley's downfall. The rise of Triumph, Royal Enfield, and BMW. While American-made motorcycles have traditionally dominated the cruiser market, European brands like Triumph, Royal Enfield, and BMW have quietly gained ground. These brands have successfully combined heritage-inspired designs with modern engineering, offering an alternative for riders looking for a fresh experience without the baggage of corporate controversy. Triumph has seen massive success by embracing its retro-styled Bonneville series, which appeals to riders who want a classic look without the weight of a traditional cruiser. At the same time, Triumph has expanded its reach in the adventure bike market, where Harley has struggled to gain traction. Meanwhile, Royal Enfield has carved out a niche with its Meteor 350 and Interceptor 650, both of which offer a vintage aesthetic at a fraction of the cost of a Harley. This affordability has made Royal Enfield an attractive choice for new riders and budget-conscious consumers. BMW, on the other hand, has taken a calculated approach, modernizing without alienating its customer base. The BMW R18 was designed to compete directly with Harley-Davidson's touring models, and its success shows that riders are willing to embrace premium alternatives when quality and reliability are prioritized. The growing presence of these brands in the American market highlights a crucial shift. Harley is no longer the only premium option. Riders are choosing motorcycles that offer better performance, affordability, and reliability, a trend that continues to put pressure on Harley-Davidson to rethink its strategy. But Harley wasn't just losing to traditional rivals. New players were entering the market. Japan's takeover. For years, Harley-Davidson was seen as a symbol of American power and freedom, but now Japanese manufacturers like Honda, Kawasaki, and Yamaha are proving that they can capture the cruiser market as well. These companies have long been known for their reliability and innovation, and now they are making serious inroads into the American motorcycle scene. Honda's Goldwing and Rebel series have been key players in attracting riders away from Harley. The Goldwing offers superior comfort, modern technology, and unmatched reliability in the touring segment, while the Rebel models provide an affordable entry-level option for new riders. These bikes offer what Harley's recent models have failed to provide: a strong balance of performance and accessibility without alienating customers. Kawasaki and Yamaha are also expanding their presence in the cruiser segment. The Kawasaki Vulcan series has become a popular alternative for riders who want a powerful yet low-maintenance cruiser, while Yamaha's Bolt and VMAX models appeal to those seeking a blend of classic styling and aggressive performance. These brands have excelled at keeping prices competitive and ensuring that their bikes are reliable, efficient, and easy to maintain. With Japanese manufacturers expanding their offerings, Harley faces the daunting challenge of competing with brands that provide better value, reliability, and innovation. While Harley remains deeply ingrained in American motorcycle culture, its grip on the market is weakening as riders look elsewhere for performance-driven alternatives. But Harley's biggest misstep wasn't just competition, it was its attempt to go electric. The Livewire disaster. Harley Davidson put its reputation on the line when it introduced the Livewire electric motorcycle, a bike that was meant to signal the company's shift towards sustainability and innovation. However, the launch was met with immediate backlash, with many riders feeling that the company had abandoned its core identity. Harley's traditional riders simply were not interested in an electric motorcycle. Many saw it as a betrayal of Harley's heritage, especially since the Livewire lacked the iconic rumble, feel, and spirit of a classic Harley. The high price tag, nearly $30,000, made it even less appealing, especially when other brands were offering cheaper, more practical alternatives. Beyond the lack of customer demand, the Livewire suffered from significant performance issues. The limited range, long charging times, and high maintenance costs made it impractical for long-distance touring, which is Harley's core market. Instead of attracting younger, eco-conscious riders, the Livewire struggled to find buyers at all. In a last-ditch effort to salvage the project, Harley spun off Livewire into its own separate brand. This move further frustrated riders, as it appeared that Harley was more interested in chasing electric vehicle trends than catering to its loyal customer base. The result? Dismal sales, a tarnished reputation, and a company struggling to define its future. But even if Harley can correct its business mistakes, one major issue still looms: its struggles with American manufacturing and its economic impact. But beyond branding, the real issue was the collapse of American manufacturing. The fall of American manufacturing. The shift to outsourcing has been one of the most damaging decisions for Harley's reputation. While Harley still assembles many of its bikes in the United States, an increasing number of components, such as engines, transmissions, and electronic systems, are now sourced from foreign manufacturers. The irony is that Harley once marketed itself as the last true American motorcycle, yet today many of its parts come from overseas. This has led to frustration among loyal riders who expected Harley to remain committed to its origins. Harley's outsourcing efforts did not just harm its image, they had real economic consequences. Factory closures in the United States have resulted in massive layoffs, leaving entire communities in financial distress. Small towns that once depended on Harley's manufacturing plants now struggle to find economic stability. The loss of these jobs is not just a Harley problem, it is part of a broader decline in American manufacturing that has affected industries ranging from automobiles to electronics. The economic impact extends beyond Harley itself. Dealerships across the country are feeling the squeeze as declining sales and shifting consumer preferences force them to downsize or close entirely. Many dealers have reported a noticeable decline in foot traffic, with fewer young riders showing interest in Harley's lineup. At the same time, longtime Harley customers are exploring other brands that still emphasize American craftsmanship or offer better value for their money. The question now is whether Harley and American manufacturing as a whole can make a comeback. But while Harley struggled, some brands found ways to thrive. The brands that survived. While Harley Davidson has struggled to maintain its dominance, other motorcycle brands have successfully adapted to changing market conditions. Indian Motorcycles, once a forgotten competitor, has seen a resurgence by focusing on heritage, performance, and modern technology. Unlike Harley, which has been caught between tradition and innovation, Indian has embraced both, offering classic cruiser models alongside cutting-edge advancements that appeal to younger riders. Royal Enfield is another success story. The company has leaned into its vintage aesthetic while modernizing its engineering, creating an irresistible blend of nostalgia and performance. By staying true to its roots while also appealing to new generations of riders, Royal Enfield has managed to grow its market share, even in regions traditionally dominated by Harley. Meanwhile, Japanese brands like Honda and Kawasaki continue to dominate through affordability and reliability. These companies understand the importance of quality at a reasonable price, making them attractive options for riders who want a dependable bike without the premium price tag. Unlike Harley, which has priced many of its models out of reach for younger consumers, brands like Honda and Kawasaki offer accessible entry points into motorcycling. Harley had opportunities to take a similar approach but failed to do so. Instead of doubling down on its core strengths, powerful V-twin engines, classic cruiser styling, and a strong dealership network, the company tried to chase trends such as electric motorcycles and corporate activism. The result was a disconnect between Harley and its riders, leading many to explore alternatives. The lesson here is clear. Companies that respect their heritage while adapting to modern demands tend to thrive. Harley, on the other hand, has struggled to find the right balance, leaving its future uncertain. But the biggest question remains: can Harley make a comeback? Harley's road to redemption. Harley must acknowledge the concerns of longtime riders and take concrete actions to address them. This means prioritizing American manufacturing, refocusing on the classic cruiser experience, and ensuring that every Harley bike feels like a Harley should. Pricing is another major issue. Harley's models have become increasingly expensive, making them inaccessible to younger riders. If Harley wants to attract new customers while keeping its loyal base, it must offer more affordable entry-level options. Indian, Honda, and Royal Enfield have all demonstrated that offering well-built, reasonably priced motorcycles can expand market reach. Harley must follow suit. Innovation must also be handled carefully. While electric motorcycles are part of the future, Harley cannot afford to alienate its core audience in the process. Instead of focusing solely on electrification, Harley should refine its existing lineup, improve performance, and ensure that new models feel like a natural evolution rather than a forced departure. Marketing and branding also need a complete overhaul. Harley must return to its roots, selling the experience, freedom, and rebellious spirit that made it famous. If the company continues to prioritize corporate messaging over biker culture, it risks further alienation. The final verdict is clear. Harley Davidson is at a crossroads. It can either correct its mistakes and reclaim its place as a leader in the motorcycle industry, or it can continue down a path that may ultimately lead to its downfall. But Harley isn't the only brand that made these mistakes. Others have fallen too. But while victory faded away, some brands were able to recover from their own struggles, one of the biggest examples being Ducati. But before we are going to tell you all about Ducati, let us know if you like this video so far by leaving a like and subscribe. And let us know in the comments your thoughts about this topic. Ducati's branding crisis, a cautionary tale. Ducati has long been known as the Ferrari of motorcycles, producing high-performance bikes with Italian styling and cutting-edge engineering. But despite its reputation, Ducati has not always been a success story. In fact, at several points in its history, the company was on the brink of collapse. One of Ducati's biggest challenges was branding and customer loyalty. While Ducati bikes were popular among sport bike enthusiasts, the company struggled to maintain long-term customer retention. Unlike Harley Davidson, which built a lifestyle around its motorcycles, Ducati lacked a strong emotional connection with its riders. Many Ducati owners saw their bikes as high-performance machines rather than cultural icons, making it easier for them to switch brands when something new caught their eye. Ducati also faced quality control and reliability issues, which hurt its reputation. Throughout the late 1990s and early 2000s, Ducati motorcycles developed a reputation for being high-maintenance and expensive to repair. This alienated potential customers and made it difficult for the brand to grow beyond hardcore enthusiasts. So how did Ducati turn things around? The company realized that rebranding was necessary. Instead of focusing solely on performance, Ducati began emphasizing heritage and craftsmanship, much like Harley Davidson does with its bikes. Ducati leaned into its history, promoting the legacy of its desmodromic engines and classic Italian design. Another key strategy was expanding its lineup. Ducati introduced models like the Scrambler, which targeted a younger, lifestyle-oriented audience. The Scrambler was a huge success, drawing in new riders, while staying true to Ducati's DNA. This was a lesson in modernizing without alienating loyal customers, something Harley Davidson could learn from. Finally, Ducati improved reliability and dealer support, addressing one of its biggest weaknesses. Customers who had once avoided the brand due to maintenance issues were now more willing to take the leap. Harley Davidson could learn a lot from Ducati's revival. Harley must restore trust, focus on its core audience, and embrace its heritage in a way that feels genuine and modern. If it can do that, it may still have a future. The motorcycle industry is changing fast, and only the brands that adapt will survive. What do you think? Can Harley turn things around, or is it too late? Let me know in the comments below.